The movie kicks off with a dangerous criminal gang storming a bank in the city, ready to pull off a heist. But they run into a major problem: the vault. It's state-of-the-art, nearly impossible to crack, and only one person can open it. That's when they grab the bank manager and knock his teeth out, trying to force him to talk. At first, he refuses, so one of the gang members presses a gun to his neck, threatening to kill him if he doesn't cooperate. Then comes the twist. Turns out he is the key. The manager steps up to the high-tech system, but when it scans him, an alert pops up: access denied. That's when the gang leader realizes the issue: the missing teeth. The system doesn't recognize him without them. So, they retrieve the broken teeth, put them back in place, and just like that, the vault finally opens. Next, they use a fake fingerprint scanner to crack open a specific safe, but the device takes forever. Eventually, though, they manage to get their hands on a stash of diamonds. As they make their escape, they find one of their own team members beating up a civilian, one of the Rains, and almost killing him. The leader steps in, reminding him of their rule: no unnecessary killing. But the guy isn't having it. Tension spikes, guns come out, and they fire at each other. The leader takes a hit, but nothing serious. Furious, he moves in to finish the traitor off, and that's when the real shocker hits. The leader is actually a woman. Her name is Alice. And now, there's an even bigger problem: the Rain saw her face. She immediately decides to take them out, but one of her teammates stops her, reminding her they're out of time. Just when they think they're in the clear, the guy she shot is still alive and lunges at her. She reacts fast, firing again, sending him crashing through a glass window. Chaos erupts, and they all decide to get the hell out before the cops show up. They grab the traitor's body, toss it in the car, and speed away. On the road, Alice argues with Kevin, another crew member, who's furious about what she did. He warns her that she just put them all in serious danger. She tries to justify it: the guy was a traitor, but Kevin isn't buying it. The argument heats up until Alice shuts him up with a quick punch. They finally reach a safe house, where the 3 remaining crew members agree to lay low for a while. Once they sell the diamonds, they'll split the money and go their separate ways. Kevin takes off, leaving Alice with Fuller, another team member, and her ex. That's when we learn the truth. Fuller is the reason she came back to this life after years of staying clean. She hates him for it. But Fuller insists that after this job, they'll never have to steal again.
She doesn't buy it.
Instead, she knocks him out with a gut punch, grabs the diamonds, and forces him to help her escape the country. To make sure he doesn't betray her, she torches the getaway car and disappears into the night. Later, Alice checks into a hotel, trying to calm down after the chaos. But then, breaking news. Her face is all over TV.
Panic kicks in.
And just when she thinks things couldn't get worse, she gets a message from Fuller. He needs to see her.
Now.
Apparently, he's got some big news. Alice heads to his hotel room, but as she approaches, a hotel staff member asks if she needs help, because Fuller is completely passed out. Before the guy can get suspicious, Fuller finally opens the door, pulls Alice inside, and slams it shut. Alice thinks he has a way to get her out of the country, but instead, Fuller says there's a chance to make even more money if she helps him. She's confused. Help him how? Before he can answer, there's a knock at the door. Fuller tells her to hide. This is where things get interesting. As soon as he opens the door, a gang ambushes him and the woman he was about to close the deal with. They storm the place, wrecking everything in sight, and tie them up. Then, the gang's leader steps forward, a man known as Washington. The first thing Washington does is snatch the woman's phone and demand the passcode. She refuses, knowing that if she gives it up, he'll kill her anyway. Washington just smirks, understanding her logic but making it clear she's going to die either way. The only choice she has is whether it'll be quick and painless. Left with no other option, she gives him the code. True to his word, Washington shoots her in the head, ending her life instantly. Fuller, consumed with rage, lunges at Washington, but the gang beats him down mercilessly, leaving him sprawled on the floor. Under the bed, Alice watches, holding her breath. Just as she's about to move to help Fuller, he stops her with a look. He's willing to endure the torture to keep her hidden. Washington tells Fuller that the diamonds he stole mean nothing to him. What he really wants is the device that came with them. But Fuller refuses to talk. So, they start carving into him with a knife, torturing him to make him speak. From her hiding spot, Alice spots the device they're after. It's hanging right above her. She quickly grabs it, but at that exact moment, one of the gang members stabs Fuller. The blade goes straight through him, and into Alice as well. She bites down on the carpet, muffling her pain so they won't find her. Washington grows frustrated when Fowler dies from the torture without revealing the device's location. He orders his men to tear the room apart, hoping to find it. Then, he calls the senator who hired him, reporting Fowler's death and their failure to locate the device. The senator is furious, but Washington reassures him he's erased all the senator's incriminating videos. Once he finds the device, he'll call again. Just as Washington turns around, he finds himself staring down the barrel of Alice's gun. She's shaking with rage, ready to avenge Fowler. But when she pulls the trigger, nothing. The gun is empty. In a split second, she bolts, sprinting through the hotel as Washington's men chase after her. She dives into another room, slamming the door shut behind her. The gang pounds on it, trying to break in. Alice scrambles to grab a spare magazine from her bag. Just as they force the door open, she fires, hitting one of them in the leg. Grabbing her stuff, she makes a break for it. She outmaneuvers another gang member, shooting him and taking him hostage as a human shield. Washington steps forward, unfazed. He tells her she's seen things she never should have, and that she's as good as dead. Then, he reveals something that makes her stomach drop. They found a CIA-issued weapon in her room. Alice doesn't react, keeping her cool until she reaches the elevator. Then, she suddenly opens fire, forcing them to duck for cover just as the doors slide shut. The second she gets to another floor, she doubles back, taking the service stairs instead. But one of Washington's men spots her and gives chase. She weaves through the hotel, eventually slipping into the laundry room. She ditches her bloody clothes, changes into fresh ones, and sneaks into the parking garage. Hot-wiring a car, she peels out of there at full speed. But the chase isn't over. The gang is right on her tail, guns blazing. Alice floors it, weaving through traffic, barely dodging their bullets. At one point, she jumps a police car, sending the whole city into chaos. Now, not only is the gang after her, law enforcement is too. But Alice isn't about to go down easy. She plays them all, forcing the cops and the gang to crash into each other. Unfortunately, her own car flips in the process, slamming into a wall. Dazed but alive, she crawls out and runs straight to the one person who might help her, Kevin. She pounds on his door, begging him to let her in before they kill her. But Kevin hesitates. Letting her in puts him in danger, too. Furious, Alice lays it out. There's a dangerous gang after her, and if he doesn't help, she's dead. Desperate, she offers him $10,000 in exchange for shelter. By the time the gang catches up and starts shooting, Kevin has no choice. He throws the door open, pulling her inside just in time. Alice starts piecing things together. Fuller was killed by this gang, and all they seem to care about is the device that was with the diamonds. Realizing the danger, she tries to warn Fuller's wife, Penny, but Penny doesn't trust her. She slams the phone down, thinking Alice was after her husband. Alice calls again, desperate, telling Penny that she and her son are in danger and need to leave immediately. She even tells her about Fuller's secret hiding spot, but Penny refuses to help. Furious, she cuts the phone lines so Alice can't reach her again. Meanwhile, Alice finds Kevin standing by the elevator, shotgun in hand, ready to ambush the gang. But they get the drop on him first, shooting him from behind. The gang then sets the house on fire to smoke Alice out. Washington, the gang leader, realizes Alice used the phone. He dials the last number called, only to hear the voice of Fuller's son, Matthew. Playing it cool, Washington tricks the boy, offering him something nice in exchange for their home address. The boy, unaware of the danger, gives it up. Alice barely manages to escape before the gang tracks her down. Meanwhile, Penny finds Fuller's secret stash, expecting answers, but all she finds are fake passports meant for an escape. Angry, she tosses them in the trash. Just as she's about to leave with Fuller's diamonds, Washington's men storm the house. She fights back, but is quickly overpowered, knocked unconscious. Washington takes the diamonds and orders his men to clean up the mess. The gang decides to assault Penny before killing her, but Alice bursts in, attacking one of them with everything she's got. She knocks him out, then rushes to get Penny and Matthew to safety. But one thug gets back up, furious, and charges at Alice. She fights back, slamming him against the wall before stabbing him in the gut. In the next room, another gang member is threatening Penny with a knife. Alice rushes in to stop him, but he manages to stab her in the back, demanding she drop her weapon. Thinking fast, Alice shoots him in the foot, freeing herself. Penny jumps in, smashing the guy repeatedly with Matthew's toy until he stops moving. With the immediate threat over, Alice finally gets a chance to check out what's on the device the gang is after. At the same time, Washington gets a call from a senator. The senator asks if he has the device yet and offers help. That's when he realizes Alice isn't just some random woman. She used to work for the CIA. He promises to track her down and retrieve the device. Meanwhile, Alice opens it and, to her shock, realizes their location has been pinpointed in seconds. She and Penny flee before they're caught. Before leaving, Alice calls Washington, warning him to leave his hotel immediately or she'll call the cops. He takes the bait, moving out with Fuller's corpse and his partner, relocating to a new hideout. But Alice follows them on a stolen motorcycle, tailing them to an abandoned warehouse. Once there, she sneaks in and takes out one of Washington's men before checking his car. That's when she finds Fuller's decapitated head. She decides to take it with her as evidence. Meanwhile, Washington, unaware of the missing head, prepares to burn the bodies. When he does, Alice calls him, demanding her diamonds back. Washington offers a trade, the diamonds and cash in exchange for the device. Knowing she's nearby, he tries to stall, hoping to pinpoint her location. But Alice sees through the trick. She kills the gang member she had hostage and makes a quick escape. Realizing he's been played, Washington calls Alice again. She tells him exactly where to meet, but it's a trap. She ambushes him, threatening to throw him off a moving motorcycle unless he tells her where the diamonds are. Impressed by her wit, Washington plays along but secretly signals his men. They knock her out. When Alice wakes up, she's tied to a chair. The gang tortures her, electrocuting her to force her to talk. Even when Washington offers her all the diamonds in exchange for the device, she refuses. Frustrated, he puts her leg in a crushing device, tightening it until she screams in pain. Finally, Alice agrees to a deal, setting up a meeting for the handoff. She secretly contacts Penny, explaining the plan, then smashes the phone to prevent tracking. Washington, thinking he's won, orders his men to get Alice dressed and moves everyone to the airport for the exchange. Penny, meanwhile, is already there, holding a bag containing Fuller's head and the diamonds. Alice leads Washington to a security vault, pulling out a box with the device. But Washington doesn't trust her. He orders her to open it herself. As she does, Penny notices she's being watched. Suddenly, a man approaches her with a gun. Back at the vault, Washington's tech expert examines the device. The second she activates it, boom, it explodes, causing chaos. Washington, enraged, goes after Alice, but she fights back, dodging his attacks. The police storm the airport, trying to stop the madness, but Washington's right-hand woman takes them all down like a one-woman army. Amidst the chaos, Alice gets the upper hand on Washington. Meanwhile, Penny fights off her attacker, shooting him dead. Washington, realizing he's trapped, tries to escape, but the police surround him. They give him one last chance to surrender, but Alice appears out of nowhere, taunting him. Washington loves surprises, so she gives him one last twist, letting the cops riddle him with bullets. With Washington dead, Penny changes clothes with Alice, sneaking away unnoticed with the diamonds. The police, thinking Penny is just a witness, take her statement. She pins everything on Washington. Meanwhile, investigators find Fuller's head, thanks to Alice's last clue. Penny and her son finally get their fresh start, while Alice, using a fake passport, disappears into the world once again. So, we go back to the investigators who are working for the senator, and suddenly, a large group of CIA agents show up and take the bag with the girl's head. They hand it over to a guy named Mac, who works for the senator. As soon as Mac opens it, he discovers that Alice managed to fool the police and escape the city. We then see her on a plane, sitting next to a guy, and she gives him one of the diamonds, asking him to activate the flash drive on his device. This is when Alice realizes that the senator is planning a devastating war against 11 countries, and that flash drive contains all the plans and data about the terror operations he has carried out in the past. She quickly calls the phone that was with the girl's head in the bag, thinking the police will answer, but it turns out that Mac is the one on the other end. He tells her that she must return the flash drive, because the senator won't stop until he gets it back, even if she goes to the ends of the earth. Alice replies that she's spent 6 years of her life in darkness, but now she's free, and she's determined to hand over the flash drive to the police as soon as she arrives. When the senator finds out what happened, he orders Mac to take a plane immediately and chase her down to get his flash drive back. And that, my friend, is where the story ends.